The next step is the site plan. We're going to draw the building off to the side and then we'll drag it over onto the site. So in the BIM package, packet C, page 25, these are the dimensions of the house that we did in Revit. So just knowing that on, again, page 25, packet C, let's jump over into AutoCAD. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and turn the grid back on. And see, I don't think I need snap turned on, but I'll have the grid on. I'll turn on snap. This should go fairly quickly. And yeah. So what I'll do up here, just any place, I'm going to start busting out that house. So if I click here, and I'll start building the house here. I think this should work. If I take my mouse out, I'm looking for like 26 feet. So you want to kind of dial in, zoom in at the appropriate level. But over here, instead of typing 26 times 12, whatever inches it is, because remember, AutoCAD's looking for inches. I could type in 26 feet, but it's going to be easier, just like Chinese checkers, just to drop this thing here, come back down and look for 26 feet. Over here to 26 feet. And as you come up here in AutoCAD, if you press C for close, it closes the loop. Okay, that's the living room. So living room, remember, come down 6 feet, come out 14 feet, down 6, over 2, down 6, over 2, down 6, and over 14. Okay, press escape. Press enter one more time to call the line command. 2 foot back, go from here, about 16. Our garage was 22 foot, and then 16. Enter. Let's do the porch. So press enter again to call the line command. Click from here, and we go down 6 feet, over 8, up 6. Press enter. Do the same thing back here. Call the line command. Go up 6, over 8, and down 6. Okay, good. So this is the footprint of our building. Now we're going to offset these lines to get an overhead. But speaking of footprint, let's get the area of this, because that's going to be our lot coverage. So in the lot coverage, our house, not include the overhang, it occupies so much space on the roof. So let's just take the area of this, and I'll make a note of it, write it down someplace, because we need that on the lot coverage. So come over to measure, click down here to look for area. And with area, doesn't matter if grid or, tell you what we'll do. We could just turn this stuff off so to get so busy. Let's use OSNAP, okay? Now, so the footprint, think of a foot standing. Doesn't matter if we're wearing a short hat or a sombrero or whatever. We just look at the impact on the land. It's just our footprint. So it won't be the overhang. So watch this. You click here, click here, and just trace around the building. Come down here, and around the fireplace. This is going to be our footprint. You can see that OSNAP allows me to just go to the end of those lines. Here, here, here. You come all the way back and you just click it. And then what happens, see, it's kind of nice and blue beam. Oh, press enter. Down here, here's the square footage. It's 1,388 square feet. Now, if I take 1,388 square feet divided by 8,000 square feet for the lot, go ahead and do the math, because you'll need that on your front sheet. But I just wanted to show you that. I kind of wish Bluebeam would show the blue areas too, but that's just the way it is. So that's our footprint. Now, let's offset all these lines by 1 foot to represent the roof. And then I'll turn these lines into dashed lines, because these are the lines that are hidden. These are the wall lines that are hidden under the roof. So let's copy the offset command. And I'll type in 12. Then probably turn off OSNAP if you get my way. And just click this. Now, what I'm doing right now, this is the upper roof. 2-story house. Okay. And then this is the garage. We got a bunch of line intersections that we got to clean up, but we'll do that later. do the front porch. And do the back porch. And then you have to do the living room. At the fireplace is something special goes on at the fireplace. Here, don't do the fireplace. Okay, now, there's no roof around the fireplace. But what we'll do, we're done with the 1 foot overhangs. Press escape. Click on this line. And with OSNAP turned on, and again, the special function key is F3, OSNAP, go from here to here. Now this is a 2 foot box. Offset this line we just made to the left by 3.5 inches because it's the thickness of the 2x4 wall. So call up the offset command, change it to 3.5. You don't have to put the inch mark in. Click here, press escape, click on that line and press delete. Let's use the fillet command. Come on, fillet, where'd you go? Here. And just touch the tip of this line. You know, OSNAP could get in our way and touch the tip of this line. Press enter to call up the fillet command. Press this and this. Okay. Let's do the same thing for the upper roof. So press enter to call up the fillet command. Click here and here. Press enter again. And I'll go from here to here. This is the upper roof. And then I'll do the same thing here to here. I know it gets to be confusing, but I'm going to try to unconfuse this a second. Press enter again, and we'll click from here to here. Now, before I clean up the rest of the stuff, let me see if I can, oh, and let's finish off the garage here, I mean the living room, and use the fillet command here, and then here, and here. Okay. So what I wanted to do next, before I finish other things, is visually, let's try to figure out what we're seeing here. If I click on this line here and go up to the line types, it's a solid line because of the layer it's on. Well, I want this thing to be dashed. Okay? So I'll click that, and there is a dashed line. I'll use the properties, the match properties. I'll take this thing, I could go find my paint bucket. Here it is. And this is the redwood deck I can't see. This is the living room walls I can't see. Here and here. Don't touch the fireplace. I'll explain that in a second. Here and here. And the big part of the house where the bedroom and bathroom is upstairs and kids sleeping loft, here and here and here and here. That's the walls hidden. Here's the garage. Do that here and here. Again, we'll clean up these lines in a minute. And then here. Same thing in the front porch. Now, I know our front porch, concrete porch, there's like a 1 inch lip. We didn't rev it, but this is close enough. This is our 6 foot by 8 foot porch. Okay, so hopefully you can visualize what's going on with the roof. Let me call up the fillet command one more time. And I'm going to clean up. Come on, if it's going to behave. Tip here and the tip here. I'll press enter to call up the fillet command again here and here. Press enter 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 here and here. Now, one thing we'll do is let's put a ridge in the middle of the living room and excuse me, what am I saying? Of the garage and the house and the living room. And so we want to use object snap. So what'll happen is it'll jump to the middle of that line, and with OSNAP turned on, it'll go perpendicular, okay, which happens to be the midpoint of the upper roof. Just click there, press enter. Do the same thing here. You can find the midpoint of this ridge, and it's go over here. It happens to be the same midpoint. It's symmetrical. But the living room is not so much. Over here, go to the middle of the fireplace and click to here and press enter. And to make these lines that are up in the air closer to us, like if we're a bird flying over, and this chimney, to make it thicker, click on one of the lines, over here, and I kind of did it earlier, but I paused. Give it about 0.3 millimeter. Now, the reason it's not thick is kind of like Revit. There's this icon, which happens to be at the bottom. It's at the top in Revit, but here, this toggles on. See, it's blue, it's on. This is off, that's on. Likewise, OSNAP, that's off. Okay, so this is this spatter line. Then what you could do is use match properties, and you'd say, well, I want the ridge on the second floor and the fascia, this end and this end. That roof is close to us, our eye, as we're flying over. And then do the same thing with the fireplace, because remember in Revit, this thing stuck up about 19 feet. Okay, good. So here's our house, and now let's save the file. Probably we should do that a number of times. We want to take this house, and our client wants this house centered in the setback area, the properties. So what we'll do is I'm going to draw a line from, just watch, okay, from here. I'll go from the, I need OSNAP turned on, sorry. I need to go from the face of that wall, all the way to the face of this, not the fascia, but the 2x4 wall. And with OSNAP turned on, and I could probably also press on F8, special function key F8, if your computer has F8, has those special function keys. That's horizontal. I'll do that. That means my mouse is going to only go up or down, left or right, because I have F8 turned on. And then this highlighted blue. So the shortcut for that is blue. Well, I'm going to go, again, perpendicular and click. That line is probably 58 feet long. Let's find the middle of it, and I'll show you where we're going. Call up the line command. With OSNAP turned on, click here and come straight down. And you go out a few feet in front of the porch. I mean, you want to. Press enter. Press enter again to call up the line. And I want to click from here, perpendicular to that spot right there. Okay. This spot where my mouse is, it's the most front part of the house. That's where the 6x6 posts are, not the overhang. And this line is the middle of my walls here and my walls here. We don't count the roof. So I want to move all this stuff from this spot right here to the midpoint of this line here. So all I needed was just this spot here. See, I don't need this line anymore. Okay, in fact is I could probably just use the fillet command and just kind of trim stuff. I just need this spot right here. This is the golden spot. So this is going to be really quick to move. Keep ortho turned off. Don't have snap turned on. OSNAP, that's what we want. We're going to move all this from the end point of this line to the midpoint of this line here. So it works out pretty slick. So we use the move command, put a box all around it. So I click and let go, and I get a blue box. It found 43 lines. I only need 41 of them because these other two I'm going to delete. I'm done selecting things I want to move. Press enter. It says specify base point. So you got to click here. And then move it to anywhere you want. But what we're going to do is we'll go to the center line of this right there. And there you go. And at this point, I don't need this anymore. And I don't need this anymore. Okay. And so there's my house. It's centered. Okay, let's put some sidewalks on it here in a driveway. So similar to what we're going to be doing in Revit, if you draw a line from the midpoint of the concrete porch straight down to the sidewalk, and maybe you could have ortho turned on, you click there, press enter. Offset this line 2 feet or 4-foot sidewalk. So we call the offset command, you type in 24, press enter. From here to here and here to here. Press escape. Touch the metal line and delete it. There's your 4-foot sidewalk. Let's do the same thing for our driveway. Click a line, and not the midpoint of the fascia, but the midpoint of the wall. Click here, come straight down. Press enter. offset this thing 6 foot on both sides. So offset, we'll type in 72 inches. And we'll click here, here, and here to here. Now I'll leave a center line in here, and I'll tell you why in a second. Let's call up another line, and the midpoint here to the midpoint here, bisect it, call up the line command again, and do the same thing with the sidewalk from here to here. Because what we're trying to do is make panels out of here so when the concrete cracks, it's control joints and construction joints and cold joints. There's a number of terms we could use there, a number of different reasons. But what I want to do is I want to offset this thing about halfway over here. Well, let me do a measurement. Let me do a distance from here to here. That's 15 feet. So I want to offset this thing 7.5 feet. So let me call up the offset command. I'll type in 7.5 with the tick mark, and I'll touch here, and then I'll click here and go down. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'll measure. Try something here. See this quick measure? Sometimes this kind of works. Yeah. What it does, it's just kind of measuring some stuff that they think it wants to measure, but we've got this property line thing in the planting easement. Don't worry about that. Let's just go back over to, just this distance. And if I measure from here to here, that is 11 foot. So I'm going to take this line and offset it 5.5 feet on both sides. So I'll type in 5.5 with a tick mark, press enter. I'll touch here and up, touch here, and come on, here and down. Now I want to put in some hatching here. We're not going to hatch the sidewalk because that's already been built by the city or somebody else. That's the city now owns. But over here, we want to hatch that. But what's going to happen is these boundaries, this stuff's going to get in the way. But I think if I turn off the setback layer, and also I think the property line layer, well, we'll see I'll see what type of, I forgot what type of layers I had. But I believe we had a setback layer, and what we'll do is we'll turn off that layer. Okay, good. Now, see this guy here, I'm curious, what layer is he on? If I click this thing and right click, go to properties, he is on layer 0. Okay, sure. I could see, I'll tell you what, temporarily, what do I do here? Is, well, I'll leave it, and you'll see what's going on. Call up the hatch command, and the last time we used a hatch was ANSI 131. Let's go down here and we'll look for AR sand, architectural sand, not concrete. Because concrete will give you little circles and triangles. That means you see in the rocks. That means you did a lousy job of putting solid into concrete. You can go to AR sand, architectural sand. But if you put your mouse over here, it's, oh yeah, that's interesting, good. I think it remembered the scale that we did last time, a scale 10. And that looks kind of good, because if I didn't have a scale of 10, it would get awfully busy. It'd be pretty dense. But anyway, you just click here, and you click on all the panels, but I'm just going to explain something by doing it this way. And let's see, I'll do here and here. So if I was a concrete subcontractor, I might pour these squares one day and the other blank ones later, or the next day, because it allows me to get around and edge the concrete and finish things. Okay. So once you got that, then the next day or a week later, days later, then go ahead and fill that in with concrete. And I only have one line here, so it's not so busy. But if you had a bunch of contour lines or everything else crossing here, you would have a lot of little squares hatch. Now press enter. I'm done. So that looks great. Let me go turn my setback layers back on. So go up to the, oh, no, I don't have to do that. Sorry. Come over here. Alphabetically, way down the bottom, let's turn it back on. So you kind of screw the light bulb back in, and there it is. Okay, the next set of lines I want to put in here is going to be SP lines. This is for contour lines. And tell you what, like for the contour lines, let's do the same thing. I want to switch over to setback layer. And so these things will be dashed lines, and they'll be green. And we want to make sure ortho is turned off. It'll probably have OSNAP turned on, off. If you come up to draw, there is this SP line here, spline fit. click here. As you move your mouse down, I'm going to click, let's see, near the sidewalk, I'll click here, and let me come up a little bit, come down a little bit. Don't get too wild on this, just be kind of soft. Click, a little bit wavy. Okay, and this is the contour. This is an elevation across the site, up and down the street. Press enter. Let's do another one. Press enter again. But we're just going to pretend that our site, fortunately, was flat all along here. So maybe the next set of contour lines is here, 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 here. I'll press enter, and I'll press enter again, and I'll do some other ones that are fairly parallel to it. Again, kind of don't get too wild. Enter, enter. Enter. Okay, I'm almost done. I probably should have paused this. Okay, so these are the contour lines. That's the existing contour lines. But what we're going to do is we want to excavate out here a little bit to make it a bit flatter so we can maybe put a hot tub there. So everything on the setback layer is going to be dashed. We're going to do another set of lines. We're going to change the color to black, and we'll make sure it's a continuous line. But let me see if I can explain this thing as I draw it. And here I'll use the SP line again. What I want you to do is when you do this new contour line, you want to be on our client's property. Don't start it over here. That means you're excavating on the neighbor, and you get a letter from their lawyer. So over here, I'm going to start a little bit below, and just like an airplane taking off, have a gradual takeoff, and go deeper and deeper, deeper, come back down, and then come in for a landing. Come in for a landing, press enter. Okay. Now, before I do the other ones, just so we can visually see what's going on, let's take this thing, right click, and change its properties. And I say, hey, just because, just because you're on the setback layer, I don't want you to be green. I want you just to be, be that color, be black or white. And I don't want you to be dashed just because of the layer you live on. I want you to be continuous. Okay. Then I'll close that out. And I press escape. Okay, now let me put in a few more lines that should not cross this purple line. And I hope you can visualize what's going on. I'll call up the SP line again. And we want to start just below the next contour line. And we want to kind of go parallel to the one we just made, parallel in a curvy kind of way. But this line is associated with this contour line. Press enter. So if you come off a contour line, you should end on the contour line. Let's call up the SP line command one more time. Press enter. And I'll click here and here and here. And let me just stay below this one here. I mean, this may not be too realistic, depending on the type of soil you have. I'll go out to here, press enter. Good. Now I want these things to be black lines, so I'll use the match properties, and I'll touch this, and I'll touch these. Okay, then I'll press enter. The next thing I do, I want to clean the rest of these things off. So I'm going to use the trim icon, and with the let me undo that. Yeah, that's right, undo. This is kind of cool, actually. Because it's trim now, it's behaving different than the previous version. If you're running a previous version, what you may have to do is call up the trim command, read down the bottom, because it might say, what's your trim boundary? And what you would do is you'd click this green line, and this green line, and this green line, then you press enter and say, okay, what do you want to trim? And then you'd come up to the tip of that line, and this tip of this line, well, and the tip of this line here too. Because I guess it sensed, it kind of knows we're going to trim to some boundary. So you didn't have to necessarily define the boundary. Okay. I know it might be confusing if you're not used to AutoCAD, but in this version of AutoCAD, it's actually a little more slicker way. And press escape, and good. That's it. I know it gets to be confusing because some of our this is the setback line and this is the contour line. But anyway, that is that's the nature of that. I can see I'm 25 minutes in here, so let me just do some text down here. If I were to call the text box and go multi-line text, and I'm going to click from here and drag a box, you can get this editor looking thing. And what I want you to do is type in 80.00 feet. Okay. I can see that I'm on the wrong layer, etc. I'm not worried about that. Let me highlight this thing. And the size of the text, I want this text. You have to highlight that and then backswipe, kind of highlight that. This text wants to be 12 inches. So if you type in 12 and press enter, don't worry out, it's getting big. Just click off to the side. Now that is a 12-inch tall text. 99% of all the text you're going to do is going to be 12 inches tall. There's just going to be a few texts that's going to be 24 inches tall. And that's the label that says site plan or the label that says legend. Now, when you click this thing, right click and go to properties, and it says you are on layer setback. No, I'm going to throw you on layer 0. And then you click off to the, close this thing out. And there it is. The reason it's black is because it's on layer 0. Now let's move this thing from here down to here. You have to look at the example in the packet. Okay, and let me copy this thing. And I'll paste. What I like about this is it's formatted to the size I want. So we just put in the distance of 80 feet on the property line. Now we're going to put in the bearings. So I jumped over to packet D, about page 33, and I'll show you some numbers down here. If you haven't taken the surveying class, and I think you're supposed to be before you take this one, this thing reads north 88 degrees, 20 minutes, 15 seconds west. So what happens with these bearings, you always start out with either an N or an S. You got to end up with an E or W, or an E or a W. And this is kind of like a vector. Now, 90 degrees apart, we're going to assume that our client, their lot that they purchased, and I've exaggerated the tilt in this thing. It's just to say this thing's not due north. Well, then this says north 1 degree, 39 minutes, 45 seconds east. Okay, and this is 100 feet. Well, if I were to take this 88, 20, 15 right over here, and this 139.45, if I add them up, there are 60 degrees with the 360 degrees in a circle. 60, oh yeah, that's right. 60 minutes in an hour, okay, but there's 60 seconds in a minute. So what happens is, if there's 60 seconds in a minute, if you add 15 and 45, that's 60. That's 1 full minute. And there it is, 60 seconds. Cross off the 60, put a 0 down there, and then carry the 1. And then 20 minutes plus 1 minute plus 39 is 60 minutes. So cross that out and put a 0 down here, and then carry the 1. And 88 and 190. So these two bearings are 90 feet apart. So I'm going to put this data in on the property line. So let's jump back over to AutoCAD. This guy over here. Good. So what I purposely did is I put some text in here. All I have to do is double click this thing and watch this. If I highlight this thing, I'm going to type in a capital N with a space. So that's north. And I want, dang, I wrote it down someplace, but not, here we go, 88. Now watch this, the degrees, right click your mouse. And over here, you'll see something to do with symbols. Here we go, symbols. And that's what we want. Now, this percent D, what that was, if you look at all these things, before you were in a Windows environment, you're on this disk operating system. This is before graphical user interface. You have a green CRT monitor. It looks like all those zeros and ones on matrix, right? What you type in is %D. I could do that right now, or I'll just click this. And what it does, it gives us this little superscript. So that's 88 degrees. I'll make a space. Then I'll type in 20 with a tick mark, kind of like feet. And I'll type in 15 with a inches tick mark. That means seconds. And then the capital W. Okay. Then what you'll be doing is you'll be copying this stuff and pasting it around. And you'll be copying these things and pasting them over and rotate them. So let's try this. I'll copy this 100 footer. Oops, hold on. I'm sorry. I'll copy this and this. Press enter from here to there. This is going to read something like 100 foot. Okay. And this is going to read more something like whatever the complement was. It was 59, and I think this is probably 39 and 40. I don't know what it is, but you're responsible to make it work. Okay. These things need to be rotated. So there's a couple ways you can rotate something. Is you can call up the rotate command, click this, and down here it says select objects. Let me just do one. I'll click this thing. Then I'll press that one and specify base point. So I'll click on the middle of it and it'll spin it. So I'll click there. Now down the bottom, it says, what's your angle? Well, over here, I could dynamically do this, but you don't want to necessarily do it that way. Just type in, see, it's looking for, see what it says specify rotation angle? It shows 0 degrees. Just type in 90. So as you start typing in 90, it fills in that box, it's 90 degrees. I just rotated at 90 degrees. Another way, probably a quicker way, is if you click on this text here, right click, and go to properties, the rotation, just change it to 90. Okay? And go away. Sorry, I pressed the help button. There we go. Good. Then what you'll do is you'll move these things from here to about here. And the way you ought to gap this stuff, this is another kind of a rule, is let this text be half the height of the text away from the line. We'll see that when we get into dimensioning. And you can move this stuff over, make it line up. Okay. Oops, I don't like that. I'll move this around. Okay.